Okay, here's the deal. This is the hose bib assembly that I had, and that goes in just fine. However, it's an 8-inch assembly. I need a 10-inch. Now, it protrudes far enough past the sill plate. I think it would have been okay, but I don't want to risk it freezing again. I want to put back what it had, because I don't want to do all this and fix that drywall and have it freeze. So, this was the wrong part. So I go to the local chain home improvement store and I got this Sill-Cock assembly. And who names these things anyway? Sill-Cock. I'm not going to call it that because it makes me angry. I'm going to call it the faucet assembly. Let's just call it the hose spigot assembly. Okay, so you know, this one here I don't really care for it. It's made in Taiwan. You know, it really doesn't feel too cheap, but I do like it. It's a quarter turn, as was this one. Now this was made in the USA. Feels like it's much better quality. Okay, here's the problem. As you can see, they flare out the half-inch line here, and they put a huge hex nut on there, which would be good for tightening it up if you were going to screw it into a threaded fitting. The thing is, I can't get it in the hole because it's much larger than the old and this replacement. See this one, I mean, this goes right in there just like it should. Okay, well, I really don't want to bust out more brick and bust out more mortar. I don't want to take a chance damaging any of this brick. So here's what I ended up doing. Okay, it took 2 trips to town and 4 stores. The last store I went to today, and granted today's a Sunday on a holiday weekend, had this puppy here. It's a 10-inch. It won't fit through the hole either. You've got to be kidding me. Okay, took a bit of minor chiseling, and it's a tight fit, but this one will work. And you may, I don't know if you can tell in the camera, it's a hair crooked, but so is the old one, and the hole in the sill plate doesn't quite line up with the hole in the brick, so that's just the way it's going to have to be. So I'm going to go ahead and go inside and see what we got. The new faucet assembly's in. This is one of the problems I run into in this house. See, like this pipe here? Well, you could go ahead. It's not exactly the same length, I don't think. It may just be a hair short. But this pipe, when I cut the old faucet assembly, this pipe comes springing back. It's like they put it in a bind to get it on there, and it was probably that way for 35 years. But what I always run into that with this house, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to extend it so it's not so tight, not such a bind. Okay, I'm going to desolder this little section of pipe right here. Touch up my water spray here. A pair of pliers. Okay, I'm sure someone will comment behind the mess in the background. It's been a rough week. Anyway, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and remove the valve assembly, because you'll see here, I'll just take it apart. And the reason why I'm doing this is hard to do one-handed though, I'll tell you that. Let me see. The reason why I'm doing this is I'm going to solder this on. And the reason being is it's going to be up inside the ceiling. I'm going to solder it on because I don't want to. I was going to use my threaded fitting and just thread it in, but I feel more comfortable with it being soldered up in the wall. I'm taking this out because when I solder it, that's going to get pretty hot. I don't want to damage any of this valve assembly here. Now, I'm sure you can solder it with all this in there. See, I don't want to damage that little washer right there. I'm sure you can. I'm sure people do. I'm not a plumber though. I'm just your average Joe homeowner, and I don't know how hot is too hot. And this was the only thing I could find in town. I paid $35 for this thing. At least it's made in the USA though. The Taiwanese one at the home improvement chain was only $22. This sure seems a lot better made though. And well, I'm going to go ahead and fit this and solder it. Okay, I've measured the length of pipe that I'll need. And, if you've never done this before, when you cut the copper pipe like this, you just kind of, you don't go ahead and you don't crank down on this knob very much. You just put a slight amount of pressure, about an eighth to a quarter turn at a time. Again, I'm no plumber, so I'm not the quickest at this, but that and this blade's pretty dull. Okay, so now this has a reaming. This pipe cutter has a reaming tool on it, but I prefer this one. So you just want to clean out your insides, clean your outsides, get any burrs off. You want to do that on both ends. And then I'm going to go ahead and solder this into the hose spigot assembly first. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this out with a wire brush. I don't think you're ever going to get it spotless, but that's pretty clean. Okay, then you just want to get some emery cloth and roughen up your copper pipe, the edges of it like that. And again, this probably isn't the best soldering tutorial on YouTube, and this is like flux for soldering. Just put a little bit on your brush, spread it around somewhat evenly there on your pipe. I'm going to go ahead and put some in here. This just helps helps clean the area that you're soldering, and helps the solder adhere to it. Piece of the brush got on there. So then I'm just going to go ahead and slide the pipe in there, and now I'm going to solder it. I think my propane cylinder is running low. But anyway, remember I've taken the actual innards of this valve out. The propane cylinder needs to be changed. Okay, I got a full tank of propane now. So I'm going to go. Just start heating this. It's a lot nicer doing it out here than it is up against the wooden subfloor. I haven't soldered in years. You probably can't see on camera, but I've seen this flux start to bubble. And usually when the flux starts to bubble, I just feed solder in. Now that's more than enough right there. But I went ahead and I'm obsessive compulsive, so I overdo it. I like to get a wet rag and just, I didn't do a very good job there, but I like to run it over the solder and it cleans it up. It should look like that. It shouldn't have that ugly blob on there, but it's not going to hurt anything. So now what I'm going to do is go ahead and insert this into the foundation. Now remember, when you get done soldering, all this is still pretty hot, so you may want to let it sit for a while. Like this here, this is hot to the touch. So I'm going to go ahead and work this in. And I'm just going to place it there for right now. I'm going to go inside and make sure, I'm going to dry fit it and make sure everything looks okay. Okay, now remember, this here is still pretty warm to the touch. I really ought to let it cool off for a little bit, but I'm a stubborn person. And I want to get this done because all the setbacks I've had have been without water for quite a while. Oh, that is perfect. Look at that. See right there? That's perfect. I can't believe it fit that well the first time. That never happens for me. If you watch any of my other videos, you know that. Usually when I measure stuff, it's like measure twice, cut 4 times. But anyway, what I'm going to do, now that I know this fits, is I'm going to go outside and I'm going to go ahead and secure this. I'm going to secure the faucet assembly.